Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, dear colleagues, to open the 9th Vienna Migration Conference, it's a pleasure to welcome to the stage ICMPD's Director General, Michael Spindelegger.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear Minister, State Secretaries, Excellencies, dear colleagues. Let me welcome you all here in this wonderful Palais Niederösterreich for the 2024 Vienna Migration Conference. It is really great pleasure to have you here today, but it's also great pleasure to see so many of you online. 1,400 participants are watching us. Let me start with an obvious fact. Dealing with migration continues to be a challenge, and the migration debate continues to attract a high degree of public and political attention. In this respect, this year's VMC is no exception. Nonetheless, since we gathered a year ago in this beautiful room, we have seen several developments that make the current phase of migration governance stand out and will hopefully make our conference this year a special event as well. Just to give you some thoughts about the big picture of migration today. First of all, we have to note that the trends towards increasing levels of global displacement continued also last year. More people than ever before were forced to flee their homes due to war, instability, and economic hardship. According to UNHCR, there are more than 120 million people displaced at the moment within their countries or across international borders. The urgency to find functioning solutions for these people, as well as for the countries that host them, has never been greater. And we must work to ensure that they are not too forced to resort to irregular migration routes, just to have a safe and secure place in the future. And given the escalating crisis in Gaza, the Middle East, and many regions in sub-Saharan Africa, we have to assume that the task ahead is only growing bigger. Secondly, 2024 has seen remarkable numbers of new migration policies being developed and tested. New agreements, migration partnerships have been formed across regional and continental lines, aiming to reduce irregular migration while also promoting new channels for legal and labor migration. New models of the external processing of asylum claims have been discussed and developed. Some of them were finally rejected. Some of them are in the initial phase of implementation. Their lessons learned, both positive and less positive, will have a lasting impact on the course of European and global migration policy. And the adoption of the new pact provides a fundamentally revised framework for governing migration and asylum in the context of the European Union. Third, while we still reflect on the outcomes of key elections and other major events in Europe and other parts of the world, we are also looking ahead to significant political milestones, such as the inauguration of the new European Commission and the upcoming United States presidential elections, events that will have far-reaching implications for the geopolitical debate, but also for the debate about migration. And when we analyze the central issues of this debate, the focus of recent political campaigns and the outcomes of recent elections, there is one clear takeaway. Many of our citizens are not satisfied with the current state of migration and with the results that migration policies have achieved up to this point, regardless of whether we agree with this assessment or not. The task before us is evident. Citizens and voters call for a reduction in irregular migration, for more return, for responses to security concerns, and for sensible labor migration policies. They call for functioning healthcare, for affordable housing, for high-quality education systems, policy areas that are closely linked to migration as well. But they also call for migration policies that guarantee the protection of human rights and policies that build upon strong and trustful partnerships between all countries that are linked by migration policy internationally. Trying to meet all these expectations at the same time will often feel like squaring the circle, like a mission that is close to impossible. Fortunately, last year's developments have also laid a stronger foundation for achieving even the most ambitious goals. The agreement on the Migration Pact, after years of difficult negotiations, is one of such breakthrough that sends an important message to European citizens and global partners alike. The European Union remains capable of taking decisive action and of reaching agreements as a united entity. In politics, there is, however, rarely time for prolonged celebration. History moves forward, and every achievement is basically a stepping stone, a foundation for future progress. The Vienna Migration Conference remains committed to contributing to this ever-repeating task. As in previous years, we will take stock of the current state of affairs, reflect on the progress made over the past year, and then look ahead in an open and frank conversation at the challenges that remain and the best ways to address them. Our goal is to discuss area of topics from the geopolitical factors shaping today's migration policies to new approaches like international protection, strategies for recruiting skilled workers, and the potential and hopefully promising requirements to take migration cooperation to a next and better level. We aim to be realistic and grounded in facts, but also future-minded, paying specific attention to fostering cooperation across regions and continents. And I am very confident that we will have an outlining and outstanding lineup of speakers. We are more than prepared to achieve this aim. We will gain fresh insights, learn from diverse perspectives, and generate forward-thinking ideas. I thank you all for joining us here in Vienna, and I encourage everyone to actively engage in our discussion. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the institutions that have helped us to organize this event. Special thanks goes to ORS, the Organization for Refugee Services, the City of Vienna, and Fragomen Global for their crucial support in making this conference possible. Now it is my distinct pleasure to hand over the floor to my colleague Malin Frankenhaeuser. I think you know her from the former times, who together with her team is responsible for organizing the VMC. Malin will introduce the conference program and the keynote discussion that will set the stage for our upcoming conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today and tomorrow. I sincerely hope that you will enjoy the 2024 edition of the Vienna Migration Conference. Thank you very much, and Malin, the floor is yours.
Good morning also from my side, dear distinguished guests and dear ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see the room so full this morning. Yes, so together with a really great team and the support of countless colleagues, we have put together an excellent program for you today, and I would like to just briefly take you through it before we get started. As the Director General already mentioned, with all the black swan events and volatility of the last couple of years affecting the world of migration, we're really proud to have VMC consistently bringing us together for the past 9 years. Today, more than ever, countries are seeing migration becoming a hugely polarizing and divisive topic. In Europe, we've seen it in all the elections in the past year. And in all this uncertainty and amidst all the divisiveness that we experience, we have as well seen really quick and bold political responses, and much has been achieved. And so to continue to find better solutions, we need these spaces where we can meet, where we can debate, also controversial topics, spaces where we can listen to each other and exchange constructively on the latest migration policy developments. And VMC set out to do exactly this. We want to offer space, an opportunity to meet and network, to initiate or strengthen partnerships, to exchange ideas, and above all, provide this space where we listen to each other and where we talk. And I hope that you can find that here on stage in one of the 13 sessions that you find in our program, or during the breaks in side events, or of course also reaching out again after the VMC is over. Now, before we move over to this year's program, I'd like to actually poll you, so activate you a little bit. On the screen, you see a QR code. Please take your mobile phones, scan the QR code on the big screen, and you also have it on the small screens around the room. And this will take you to the poll. We'd like to ask you, and this reflects our agenda also for today, which topics should be prioritized? They're all important, but which topics should be prioritized in the migration agenda in the upcoming years? Is it meeting labor market and skills needs, smarter tech solutions for efficient migration systems, ensuring safe and regular protection pathways, exploring new models for asylum processing and return, investing in migration diplomacy more than ever, effectively responding to instrumentalizations and migratory pressures at the external borders, or making the pact operational. So now we will break for a minute or so to allow all of you to vote. I think we have the temperature in the room, so we will conclude the poll, although I see it moving still. So these are topics you will find on the agenda, on the program over the next 2 days. Meeting labor market and skills needs, demographic challenges, skill shortages, but also labor market developments that are brought by the twin green and digital transitions require workers. This is a priority both for countries of origin and destination alike, and we're delighted to have 2 sessions tomorrow to discuss how to make labor migration work in practice, one dedicated to government perspectives from South Asia and another to private sector insights. Ensuring safe and irregular protection pathways, this year we have 3 panels that are dedicated to protection spaces. Together with UNHCR, we will discuss route-based approaches to protection, and in the afternoon, we are also going to have a panel discussion on models to reach out to and support migrants en route, also with a view to address dangerous, irregular journeys. And the third discussion that also falls under exploring models for asylum processing and return looks at the more controversial topic of external processing, where we want to take a bird's eye view and try to explore commonalities and red lines of the models that have been both tested and discussed right now, and we ask ourselves where the way forward is. Making the pact operational, of course, the pact on everybody's mind in the last couple of months, if not years. Tomorrow we will have 2 sessions devoted to the pact. We will explore what has happened since the pact was adopted, where current priorities lie, and what it will take going forward to ensure a functioning system, as well as the tasks ahead for key EU agencies in translating the new migration and asylum rules into practice. And of course, investing in migration diplomacy partnerships. They continue to play a crucial role in achieving migration goals. So we are proud to host this morning a high-level panel where Austria and Greece and Belgium will share their priorities and pinpoint the space for continued intra-EU cooperation and international cooperation in the coming months and years. And after lunch, we are delighted to also discuss migration diplomacy with the European External Action Service and Egypt. So what remains now? Threats at the external border, pressures at the external borders. We have a discussion on instrumentalization, and also with Poland, we have a one-on-one session to discuss current priorities, also to discuss Ukrainian refugees under temporary protection and plans for the Polish Council presidency. And I also expect that the topics of migration pressures and security threats and responding to instrumentalization will feature in the high-level discussions today. Finally, in terms of prioritization, tech has not been mentioned, but we are proud to have a side event during lunch today on finding smarter tech solutions for to make our migration systems more effective and interoperable, and this continues to be really a linchpin to make the systems work. Whether that is managing borders, processing data, or integrating or matching migrants and refugees with host communities. So during the lunchtime, we have a side event that really takes a 360-degree view on where we are in terms of the latest tools and innovation, and where we could be going and what we need to keep in mind moving forward. So that was today's program, but of course, we are also really happy to have an excellent scene setter today. So in just a moment, our keynote conversation is going to allow us to also reflect on whether the European Union is strong enough to survive the hurdles that are being thrown its way. And the closing discussion on the second day is also going to reflect on what's been said during these last 2 days, and to look at key takeaways that will allow all of us to go home with more food for thought. I really hope that you enjoy these 2 days and this year's conference. I wish you great talks on and off stage. I'd like to thank you very much now and welcome Ivan Krastev to the stage.